We'll be showing P4I lightning protection with an imported Revit substation. We'll import the Revit substation using normal Inventor methods and show the linking between the two models. We will then show the preparation of the imported Revit model for lightning protection and run lightning protection tools. We'll add shield wire as well and show the difference with shield wire and no shield wire. Okay, here is a simple substation in Revit, and you can see the spacing between the lightning masts, and we can see the equipment is very simple in this station. Switches and insulators, CCVTs and such, and foundations. So we have structures, we have everything we need in this model. This is only the high side, it's only the high voltage side of a station. And what we're going to do, we're going to bring this into Inventor. And over here we have I'm on a 3D view. I've created a 3D view that I want, and that's how I have it set up. I'll go into my Inventor. And what we do is this is imported already. And what we do, we bring this in, we bring in the Revit RVT file. So as an example, you would come up to assemble, place imported CAD file. When you place imported CAD file, you select the RVT, and with that, you'll get an edit window. So I'm going to edit this import, and I'll go ahead and edit. What we want to make sure is that we have a reference model. So you would select reference model. If you select convert model, that would be a broken link and the two would not be linked together. In this case, it's a linked file. If an object moves in Inventor, you'll get a lightning bolt. Or anytime the Revit is saved, you'll get a lightning bolt. If you come down here, you can see the view I selected to bring in, and I selected all groups here. I don't need to select all groups, but in this case I did. And with that, you would say okay. It is then you can place it at 0, 0, or you can simply go up to your ground and root your model if that's what you want. But it's as simple as that. And in this case, that's exactly what I did. I ground and rooted it. So if we look at our model here, it's kind of like a simplified part coming in. And you can see that I have it, what is it, 4 inches, 100 centimeters or something up and flush to these constraints. So that's the grounded item. And you can see it's a little bit offset, but that's just the way the Revit was created. What we can do then, I'll show you, I'm going to move a mast and we're going to move it in Revit and it will show up in Inventor. So let's go into Revit. I'm going to take this mast. I have a number here. I'm going to change this from 40,000 millimeters to 30,000 millimeters and I'll hit enter. And now it's moved and I'll save this. Now I come into Inventor and you'll see a lightning bolt placed up here and a lightning bolt in the browser. I update and this mast here should move. So I'm going to update this and you'll see it working. Okay, that took almost 2 minutes and you can see that the post has moved. So if I want to bring it back, I can simply just bring it back again and come back into my Revit model and I can move this. Anything attached to the Inventor item from Revit will move with that change. So I'll come back here, I'll save that location, come back into Inventor, and I can update again. Okay, with that, you can see that that post was returned. If you have anything that is deleted in the Revit file, it will be deleted in the Inventor file. If you replace and add something new, it will show up in the Inventor file and may need to be treated for design checks or lightning protection, whatever tool you're using with P4I. So for lightning protection, what we're going to do, we're going to follow the lightning protection document. I want to make sure everyone's familiar with this. This is on the knowledge base of the SBS portal. And what we're going to do is we're going to work with placing a 4-point sketch on every top. What we find is that having 4 points, it allows SDS to analyze the shape that it needs to run the protection item. So in the best practices with SDS rolling spheres, this is described here. So inside of our Inventor file, I'm going to, let's get up to view and let's turn this stuff on. I want user work points and I want 2D sketches. All right, so this is the point I'm putting on here now. I can put the work feature, work point on the part directly, but what I find is it's just nicer to bring this in. It's a little bit quicker to place in. So let's take a look at one of these. I'm going to open it up. And you can see I have a vertical work axis, which is of course the origin z-axis. That's turned on. And at the top, I have a pattern of work points, and they're attached. And what we do here is I have different model states for different size of square because it's working on top of the masts a little bit differently because each type of mast has a different radius. So in this case here, I'm using a 7-inch square on top of this mast. And with that, I've placed my masts around my item here. SDS doesn't calculate the rolling sphere, but what you do, you place the rolling sphere value in the settings. So in this case, I'm in the lightning protection. My sphere is 80 feet. And what we do is we typically start at a large number here to lay out the rolling sphere, check that that's what we want, like a large number like 20 feet, and then we'll narrow it down to a smaller number like 8 feet once we get something that we want. We come up to select mass points. So we select them all 4 mass points around each one, and then when we show mass, you can see those light up. So I'll zoom out now and we'll see that they all light up. And then we can run our rolling sphere. So we can come up, run the rolling sphere. It will look at those points and run the sphere. What I've created this ahead of time. So I'm going to come into my representations, my view representations, and I'm going to show the rolling sphere without shield wire. So we ran the rolling sphere and you can see what it looks like. And it's placed out to the outer ends. Now I may not have selected the smaller diameter just because I'm checking it out to see how it works. So what we need to do next is look at where it's going, and we need to add the shield wire. So clearly from that last image, the lightning protection did not protect the inner area between the masts of this station. So I'm going to add some shield wire. So what I added a number of shield wires, and I'm showing the 3D sketch just because it's so small. This is a big station and it's hard to see. So that is the arrangement I added for shield wire. So I wanted to have that shield wire all covering everything in the center. This might not be the best arrangement, but it's reasonable for what I see. So I'm going to come back and we're going to show that wire. If I zoom in, you can see the wire placed here, and I placed it to the work point. Sometimes you might have a fitting up here or even lower. You might have a fitting down here coming off and using that shield wire. You can run the shield wire separately from the rolling sphere and have run rolling sphere twice, once for shield wire and once for the masts, or you can run it all together in one radius. So you can either use two radiuses or one. So we're going to run it with the shield wire now, and I'll come back up into my assembly. And let's collapse this. And we will run it with shield wire. So once it runs with shield wire, I have that shield wire turned on. So let's turn on the visibility of that run. So let's make this visible. And this takes several minutes to run. And now you can see it ran. So I've used the smaller grid size. So I used a smaller grid size and a heavier or a higher number for this segments along the shield wire. And I use the same radius for the shield wire as well as the masts. And with that, you can see it covers everything we need. Typically for the transmission, they'll have separate transmission lightning protection. I don't have that on here, but I could make that up and add it to here. So you notice that I have this colorized. If I come into my iLogic, I can run this tool, and I'm able to switch that on and off, whether I want to see it translucent or not. So there you go. You can see it covering this way. You can see what's not covered, but it's a little more clear when we make it a solid. So I'm going to run that again. And there we have it. If you go on the YouTube site or even look at our document here, you can see where we've brought in it in a 2D view. When you have lightning protection, you can create a 2D view to show what areas of that lightning protection item is crossing through your station at different elevations. So there's a method, a work method for us to do that as well.